Good morning, boys and girls. I'm going to start the Jungle Book today. I think you're probably familiar with this. I don't know if you've seen this cartoon movie version of this book or if you saw the live action one. They're both really good. The book is really good too. This is obviously a little bit of a watered down version for kids. But as you get older, you might want to read the big one. So this is the Jungle Book, adapted from the film by Jim Rossi. Richard Kipling wrote the actual book. Many strange tales are told of the jungle in India, but none so strange as the story of a young boy named Mowgli, the man cub who was raised by wolves. It all began on the day Bagheera the panther heard an unfamiliar sound echo through the jungle. It was the sound of a baby crying. Bagheera loped along the banks of the river until he came upon a half-sunken boat. There he found a baby boy lying in a basket. "Why, it's a man cub," he said. The big panther picked up the basket and placed it gently on the bank. He gazed curiously at the man cub, who by now had stopped crying and was staring back at Bagheera with big brown eyes. Bagheera smiled down at the baby, and the baby suddenly smiled back in return. Bagheera murmured. "I have saved you from the river, but what do I do with you now? You will have to have nourishment and a mother's care." As Bagheera was musing on this, the man cub reached up and grabbed some of his stiff whiskers. "No, no, little one," said Bagheera. "I have no time to play. I must think." Then a thought occurred to the gentle panther. He knew there was a wolf family living in a nearby cave that had just been blessed with a litter of cubs. "Perhaps if I take the man cub to the mother wolf," he said to himself, "she will take care of him." He nodded at the baby as if he understood. "Good, it's decided then," he said in a slightly stuffy manner. "I will take you there now." So without wasting another moment, Bagheera picked up the basket and carried it to the cave. He placed the basket in front of the entrance where the wolves would be sure to see it. Then he found a suitable hiding spot and waited. But after a few minutes went by, Bagheera became impatient. The baby was silent now, and no one was coming out of the cave. The big panther crept over to the basket and gave it a swipe with his paw. The baby squalled in protest, and Bagheera jumped back with startled eyes. What a healthy pair of lungs the man cub had! But the idea worked, because as soon as Bagheera reached his hiding place again, a pack of cubs came scampering out of the cave and padded over to the basket. The mother wolf followed her cubs out of the cave, and then she saw the baby. And then she smiled. "Oh, a little man cub," she cried. "I've never seen one. Look how small he is. And how unafraid. Why, he's as bold as one of my cubs." Bagheera smiled too when he heard that. "I just knew that wouldn't be a problem, thanks to the maternal instinct," the panther chuckled. But then he saw Rama, the father, stalk out of the cave. Bagheera wasn't so sure about Rama. What if Rama doesn't accept the baby, he thought. What if he gets angry? But Rama was already approaching the basket as if it were a strange animal. And just when the big wolf stuck his nose in the basket, the baby laughed. We all know baby laughs are cute, right? Bagheera held his breath, but Rama only smiled. The big panther let out a long sigh. It was going to be all right now. The man cub had been accepted into the wolf family. Chapter 2. 10 times the yearly rains had come, and the man cub had grown up as strong and sturdy as his wolf brothers and sisters. The wolf mother had named him Mowgli, which means little frog. I didn't know that. Did you know that? And that was because, like a little frog, he could never stay still. I know a lot of little frogs in my class. All day long, Mowgli would run and play with the rest of the cubs, as fleet and sure-footed as any of them. Mowgli loved his family, and no one else, neither man nor beast, was ever happier in the jungle. But one day news spread throughout Mowgli's part of the jungle that Shere Khan, the tiger, was back after a long absence. The wolves had a meeting about it on a council rock. Even Bagheera was there, sitting on the limb of a nearby tree. Akela was the leader of the pack, and it was him who reminded the others of the terrible danger the tiger represented. "When Shere Khan hears there's a man cub here," Akela said, "he will surely kill the boy and all who protect him." The other wolves nodded their heads in agreement. "Then it's settled," said Akela. "For the safety of the pack, the man cub must go." There was another chorus of agreement, and then Akela spoke again. Now, it is my unpleasant duty to inform the boy's father, Rama. Rama had been sitting away from the pack by himself, but now Akela called to him. Rama, come over here, please. Yes, Akela, said Rama. The man cub can no longer stay with the pack. Oh, I got a baby here. Sorry, I lost my place. Although Rama had been expecting this, he was still shocked. But the man cub, why, he's like my own son. Akela looked at Rama kindly and said, Rama, you know even the strength of the pack is no match for Shere Khan. Rama nodded his head slowly. He knew what Akela said was true, but he looked around with tear-filled eyes. But it's not fair. The boy cannot survive alone in the jungle, he protested. At that moment, Bagheera, who'd been listening to all of this from his perch in the tree, lightly stepped down. Perhaps I can be of help, he announced. You, Bagheera, how? Asked Akela. I know a man village where he'll be safe, answered Bagheera. Mowgli and I have taken many walks in the jungle together, so I'm sure he'll go with me. So be it, agreed Akela. And go quickly. Now. There's no time to lose. And so it was later that night Mowgli found himself astride Bagheera's back, winding through the deep, dark jungle. The ride had been fun, but now Mowgli was tired and ready to go home. Bagheera, he murmured as he stifled a yawn. I'm getting sleepy. Shouldn't we start back home? We're not going back, said Bagheera. I'm taking you to the man village. Mowgli opened his eyes wide. The man village? But why? He asked. Because Shere Khan the tiger has returned to this part of the jungle, answered Bagheera, and he has sworn to kill you. Kill me? Cried Mowgli. But why would he want to do that? He hates man, answered Bagheera, and Shere Khan is not going to allow you to grow up to become a man, another hunter with a gun. Mowgli shook his head innocently. Oh, well then, he said, jumping off Bagheera's back. We'll just explain to him that I'd never do that. Bagheera shook his own head slowly and looked at Mowgli as if the boy were a slow-witted monkey. Don't be foolish, he said. No one explains anything to Shere Khan. And with that, Mowgli stuck out his chin and cried, Well, I'm not afraid of Shere Khan or anybody. Just then they came to a big, sprawling tree. Now that's enough, said Bagheera, eyeing the tree. We'll spend the night here, and when tomorrow comes, things will look much better. But Mowgli didn't think so. He didn't want to spend the night in a tree. He certainly didn't want to go to the man village. He wanted to spend the night with his family, and he wanted to stay in the jungle. Man cub, Bagheera's stern voice interrupted Mowgli's thoughts. Up in the tree, I said. And then in a kinder tone, Bagheera said, Go on up. You'll be safer up there. Mowgli looked down and scuffed the ground with his toe. But I don't want to go to the man village, he cried, and I don't want to climb this tree. And then he looked up. And anyway, I can't go way up there, he protested. But Bagheera wouldn't be put off. With prods and pushes, he forced Mowgli up into the tree. When they got to a suitable limb, Bagheera yawned and settled down for the night. Mowgli sat glumly in the opposite end of the limb. I want to stay in the jungle, he said, half to himself, but I can look after myself if I want to, and I have to. But Bagheera had hardly heard a word. He was already half asleep. And just then, Kaa, the python, who had been coiled around the upper branches of the tree, spied the little boys seated on the limb, and the long snake slowly uncoiled himself and smiled. Say now, what have we here? He hissed. Why, it's a man cub, a delicious man cub. And with that, he licked his fangs and slithered down from his perch. We're going to stop there for today. I'll keep reading this until we get finished with it. Wish I had Wayside School to read to you guys here. I know we were going to finish all 3 of those this year. I just knew it. But anyway, I am going to create like a Google doc or something. I don't know yet. I'm going to link it today for us to kind of go through the story and make sure we know who the characters are and what the conflict and solution are, the setting, and maybe the theme too, so we can review all of those things while we are reading. I got puppy problems. But anyway, I miss you guys. Thank you all so much for sending the videos of yourselves reading. I hope that you have a happy April Fool's Day. No tricks, no pranks today. Hoping for the sun to come out, and I will talk to you guys again soon. We probably won't finish this book before spring break, but we will finish it after. Okay? Bye, guys. See you later.